Wasn't Super Saturday, but what a day of action on the second Saturday of the 2013 U.S. Open. All the doubles finals, quads and juniors, and the women's. The day before that was the mixed. All of them were done, completed by Saturday. The only one left was the men's doubles final for Sunday. Starting off at 11 a.m., court 10, the only one on the outer court. Wagner took care of Taylor as I said he would. I'm surprised he double bageled his buddy and didn't even let him get a couple games. Maybe Taylor was suffering a bit physically, hard to know. But Wagner's in the quad finals once again, a two-time defending champion. Later on, at 11 a.m. also on court 7, Tornado Black. Unbelievable, pulled off the upset. I wasn't sure about this one, but she obviously must have run down a lot of balls, combating Lautner's power. The wind probably helped. I mean, it was windy. The defender would have done better, and there she gets 7-5, 6-3. Didn't even go 3. Unbelievable. She is in the finals, the junior girls finals as a 15-year-old. 11 a.m. on court 11. Kanju, the other women's singles semifinals, did get through Hebe as I said she would. Probably powered through her defense, and Hebe maybe got a little bit exhausted, 3-3. And then court 13, another wheelchair quad singles, and upset, though this wasn't a big one. Lapthorne wasn't looking so great, though in this one he did start off great, 6-1. But Sithole took some time to get going against Wagner as well, and Sithole is now undefeated on the round robin, and he has a rematch with Wagner for the final tomorrow. So he did the same thing against Wagner. He started off slow, took some time to get going, started pumping up his serve, won a really close second set. I think with Wagner it was 6-4, but this is 7-5, and then blew out Lapthorne in the last set like he did to Wagner. I thought maybe Wagner in his older age maybe tired a little bit. I don't know. I couldn't see these matches. With Lapthorne's young, 22, so I'm just thinking Sithole is just completely on fire this year. Getting into the top 5 for the first time. He's got a nice lefty swing. Moves quick. I was watching highlights of him actually, and like I said, 3 limbs are not there, and yet he's able to get around so quick and has power with that lefty. He actually throws the ball up with the same hand he's going to serve with, lefty, and throws it up and then whaps it. So he can really hit power and speed. And I don't know, is this a fluky year, or is this what we're going to be seeing a lot in the coming years? So Sithole, an upstart in the final against Wagner, and then Arthur Ashe. Well, let's just jump down. Let's do a couple more. On court 13 at after the Sithole Lapthorne one, we had the first of our finals in doubles, which was Jermaez, Schaefer's, and they did complete their final run. I figured they had the more experience. They've done it before, and they upset the number ones a couple days ago. So, actually the day before. So it wasn't tough. They had a tough second set, but they were able. It looks like Fernandez Gerard were maybe a little nervous in the beginning, and then in 3 sets, Jermaez Schaefer's are the new doubles champs at the U.S. Open this year. Griffione Van Coot, I think that's a repeat of. No, I'm not sure oh no, what am I talking about? Last year. We're talking about a lot of different things, but last year they didn't have the wheelchairs because they were playing the Paralympics, so they didn't have them at the U.S. Open. But I'm thinking defending, when I'm talking about going back to 2011 and 2010. But anyways, I don't know, Griffione and Van Coot I think they lost in 2011 to the Verger team, but it was a tough one. But anyway, they got their doubles final, as I said, over Ellebrock and the Japanese Kamiji. Anyways, don't know much about her, but anyway, I know Ella Brock's good. But anyways, good win there for Griffione Van Coot. So the wheelchairs doubles is done, and then of course the quad doubles. Like I said, Nick Taylor after, I guess this is after Wagner beat his poor buddy. I guess Taylor wasn't that upset and teamed with them and figured, let me get a final here, let me get a championship, and they beat Lapthorne and Sithole. Actually, I'm not sure what happened here. And this could be what's been going on with Lapthorne. It looks like a retirement to me, 6-love, 2-6. So I didn't even read anything about that. So unless that was a typo, and 6-love, 6-2. But Sithole's been playing great, so I have to think something was wrong with Lapthorne, and that could explain his bad showing here at the U.S. Open, because he's been knocking on that door to get Wagner and get number 1, and so this was it had to be upsetting to him, the showing here. So he might have had an injury. Anyways, Taylor and Wagner got through, so they repeat as the doubles champs. And then further on down court 11, later in the day after the Konju Hebe, Navratilova and Stubbs completed their champions uh, championship, the Champions Championship, and yes, just too much. Stubbs is in her prime almost. Navratilova is not going to, she's taking this seriously probably. Anyways, I'm kidding around, but, she's a fighter. Anyways, and then after that day, we had a long one, and this happened sort of like I said. Varev won the first set, went down in a tough second set, and had nothing left. It looks like Coric just ran him to death. Got through him. So big victory. Coric reminds me of a Djokovic type a little bit. Some power, but a lot of defense too, and that works well with these balls, the conditions, the way they've been, and the variable surface. Down on court 7 after the Tornado Black victory, we had another double, the boys junior boys doubles final, and the Polish team, the United States Polish player Rydlicki with the Polish player Mazurek, completed their incredible run, upsetting the number 1 team in the first round and getting all the way and winning the final. Great stuff by them. Later in the day, Kakanakis, and it took him a while to get going again, but he got through Garin in 3 sets, as I said he would, with his power. So now he's going to go up against a guy who has power and the defense and the baseline in Coric, and I think that could be the end. Anyways, and then while this was all going on, I'll jump back to these in a minute. While all this was happening on all these outer courts, we had Djokovic Wawrinka having a epic clash. 2-6, 7-6, 3-6, 6-3, 6-4. First set, Wawrinka was on fire like he's been this tournament, and Djokovic was like he's been, playing people like Granollers and Sousa was not going to prepare him for this, and a tired Jusny. And yes, Jusny helped him a little bit by winning a set and making Djokovic play a little, but he wasn't ready for Wawrinka. Wawrinka was more aggressive and just blitzed him. Second set, Djokovic fought like he knew he would. It took him time. In fact, it took him the whole match, I think, to get his top form, but he was fighting and fighting. Wawrinka started to show a little bit of signs of that fatigue. His first service percentage was coming down. I think it was nerves too. Djokovic's a great returner. It was coming down, but he fought hard, got to the tiebreak, and in the tiebreak, I think Wawrinka was up a break, if I recall correctly, and then Djokovic got it back, but I could be wrong on that. But anyway, in the tiebreak, Wawrinka just made a couple mistakes. He started off with a mistake, but got the mini break back, but then got down again and then lost it. It was just, he got a little tight. It was big time stuff. I think he knows, he gets that second set, like I said, he wins this match. And he was so close, yet so far. And, Djokovic is used to this. He has the experience, and he really rose to the occasion in that tiebreak. And, in fact, the last point, Wawrinka was serving down a mini and was just trying to get back to 5-6 and then try to break Djokovic. Well, he didn't even get that far. At 4-6, he put out a wide serve, and Djokovic just leapt out and made an incredible cross-court forehand service return winner right past Wawrinka. And it was just the best return that I've seen Djokovic make in a while. Harkens back to his 2011 season with all those great returns. And he was really fired up, and he was trying to get the crowd on his side. Poor Djokovic never gets the crowd on his side, it feels like. It's being number 1, too. I mean, remember, there was a lot of times people didn't like Federer. I don't care what anybody says. There was a backlash against Federer after all his winning. But he always had Nadal as his kryptonite, and I think that always gave, kind of eased that tension. And then as he showed some age later and stuff, people started to like him and realize what greatness he had done all his life. So, I mean, what I'm trying to say is being number 1, it brings with it some of these things. I mean, Nadal was even getting some backlash, but then he got injured, and then now everybody... So, people always root for the underdog. But anyway, Djokovic made that great return, got it to a third set, and then Wawrinka was starting to come down, and Djokovic looked in charge. I think he almost went up a break, couldn't quite get it, and then before you know it, they got near the end, and it was 3-4, Djokovic serving, and he just had 4 bad errors. Out of nowhere, he just lost concentration, and this is the stuff he didn't used to do. And I don't know if I think it has to stem from a physicality. I think physically he's not quite where and he wasn't as good in 2012 as 2011 physically. And this year it's not even as good as 2012. Just a little bit under that 100% area, maybe like 90%, sometimes lower than that. But that little bit, he just went out the window for a second, tried to get really quick winners instead of working the point. Four errors. They were close, but they were errors. And suddenly, Wawrinka's serving for the third set at 5-3. This is what surprised me. I thought Djokovic would stay focused and pull this out. He did not. Wawrinka served it out with some big power, went to a fourth set, and then Stan really started to show fatigue. He even had a medical timeout, I think, for a hip or something. I was wondering if it was back, but I think it was his hip. Got down a break. He just kind of coasted in and kind of saved energy for the last set. And in the fifth set, they fought some amazing games. I think at 1-1 they had a 1-1. They had a 20-minute game, and there was a standing ovation that lasted for like 5 minutes by the crowd. It was amazing. Wawrinka had to sit down for a bit. I mean, but he kept fighting. He fought his heart out, and he just couldn't get the breaks. He almost broke, couldn't get it, and finally Djokovic got it. If I recall, did Djokovic break and then get broken back? I can't remember. But it was just massive, brutal fighting going on. And finally, Djokovic got up the break and barely held on to it and held on and played really well at the end. Now, he has a whole day off. I do think this fight is going to help him because Nadal didn't have that kind of a fight with Gasquet. He got up the break right away against Gasquet, held on to it for the first set, got up the break right away in the second set, but then Gasquet broke back, and it looked like Gasquet really had a shot to take at least a set, but in the tiebreak, Gasquet totally got tight, flubbed a volley, flubbed a couple other shots. He had Nadal on the run on one shot, but didn't come in. He needed to come inside the court and wasn't aggressive enough. So he just got a little tight, and that was it. He totally fatigued out in the last set. So Nadal had to play some. It wasn't like Nadal's in great form, don't get me wrong, but battle-tested, I would say no, compared to what Djokovic went through. Will it matter? I don't know. It may just be a slight difference, and that could be all it is. But Djokovic needs to be 90% or above. He will not, if he's under 90%, and sometimes he simply is this year, and yeah, that's as simple as that. Can't beat Nadal. He needs to be above 90%, then the matchup favors him. He does have the matchup edge, kind of like Nadal has the matchup edge on Federer. And I know Nadal's improved his game greatly, more aggressive for hard courts. But I don't know. It's all going to depend on where Djokovic is physically. But he's battle-tested now, that's for sure. And yes, that was his top form at the end. Finally, he's at his top form. And so that was all going on in Arthur Ashe into the night. In the meantime, like I said, we had Nick Taylor and Dave Wagner wrapping up the quad final. So all the wheelchair doubles finals were done. And then later at night, we had the Mack brothers did do the completion of their big championship in the Champions. So the women and the men's champions are done. And then the junior girls and junior boys doubles are all done later in the day in Court 7. The Czech team, Krejcikova and Siniakova, did pull it out. It wasn't even that tough. So none of the doubles were that tough. It was mainly the singles that were crazy. And so that was a wrap all across the courts at the end of the day. In fact, if we look here, these wheelchair doubles. Oh, I'm sorry, the first doubles of the day with the wheelchair men's doubles was a 3-setter. But other than that, they weren't tough. But the singles and the wheelchairs were tough. The juniors singles were tough. All these were semifinals. And then finally the last finals of the day, the last doubles final of the day to wrap up the doubles except for the men. Lakvachva, how did I say that? Levakova. I like to say Lavakova, so I'm going to say that. And Radeka versus Barty and Delacqua. And for me, this was an upset. Obviously not an upset by seeding. Barty Delacqua went up to early break, and I expected then a blitz to come after that. There was no blitz. Levakova and Radeka fought back, got the break back, and then in the tiebreak took off and won it. They were actually up by a lot. And then Barty Delacqua fought back a bit, but it was all Levakova and Radeka. And, I'm sorry. Oh, man, I totally lost my mind. Too much tennis for the tennis car. Sorry, guys. No, Barty Delacqua did take the tiebreak. It was all Barty Delacqua in the tiebreak. I'm sorry about that. That was totally, and then I think Levakova and Radeka fought back. But I'll tell you what, I watched this. I couldn't even see it live, so I had to watch it late at night. I was half asleep. So to be honest with you, that's probably why I'm giving you the wrong score. The bottom line is, I thought Barty Delacqua would blitz them. They didn't. They got the early break, but they didn't blitz them. They needed a tie break, and they took off in the tie break. So I figured. Then they got the early break in the second set, and we're up 1-0. And I thought, okay, here we go. But it never happened. Levakova and Radeka got the rest of the games, and it was a tight third set. It went back. Everybody held serve, went back and forth. Might have been a couple breaks. I can't remember. But the bottom line was, Levakova and Radeka broke at the end and held it out and won. Simply had a little more power. They actually played better than I expected. They looked a little sluggish to start, and then that was it. They were fine. So they carried off their good tennis, and it looks like they just got healthy. Another, tennis players, these guys who look unhealthy and they've been having bad years, bad summers, and then you just never know in this game. And if you're happy, especially in doubles, doubles, it's not real physical. You cover half the court. You have a partner with you, and a lot of it just depends on how you're feeling at that moment. And I know Barty Delacqua love each other, and they play great together, but Lavakova and Radecka got a real second win to the whole season, to be honest with you, when they beat the Williams, and instead of coming back down, they carried that right through to the final. And I would like to see some of this again, especially that second set. I'm kind of surprised Barty Delacqua just let that go, and I wonder if maybe the years weren't on them. They've had a big year, but kind of a shame, three slam finals for them, and they haven't gotten one. And definitely not having power by either one of them, a big serve or anything, hurts them. They are great off the ground and great working together, and they're a joy to watch. You have to watch these two play. And Barty can crack it, actually. Delacqua can take it early. Barty can crack it. She's a little pit bull. She can crack it off the ground. But when it comes to serving, that's a major issue there. So I hope they stay together because they work great together. I know each of them might feel like they need a bigger server to play with, but I hope they don't because they're great. And I don't know what it takes to get over the hump. I would like to see this again, and I'll have to see for the future on that. I really thought they got that first set, even though it was tougher than I thought. Really thought they could close this out. Really surprised. Okay, so that's a wrap. All the doubles are done. Only have one doubles left. All the singles to go on Sunday, wheelchairs and junior singles, and of course the big one, the women's final.